The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Sci-Fi of the Krellian Empire rose from his crystalline seat. His multiple eyes focused on the holographic display showing Earth's coordinates. For cycles, the Council had debated whether humanity deserved a seat among the civilized species of the galaxy. Today, they would finally meet a human representative. "Let the human delegation enter," Sci-Fi announced, his translator converting his clicks and whistles into standard galactic. The massive doors slid open. Daniel walked in first, a young human male in formal attire, carrying a diplomatic case. Behind him came Elsa, a teenage girl with blonde hair tied in a ponytail, wearing casual Earth clothing and carrying what appeared to be a small container. The assembled aliens exchanged confused glances. They had expected warriors, scientists, or at least adults of significant status. Instead, they got a young male and what appeared to be a human juvenile. "Greetings, honored council," Daniel began, bowing respectfully. "I am Daniel Reeves, human ambassador. This is Elsa Martinez, who has accompanied me as a cultural representative." Council member Thrax, a reptilian being from the desert world of Scorch Prime, hissed skeptically. "You bring a child to the Galactic Council. Is this how Earth shows respect?" Daniel smiled calmly. Elsa represents the everyday human experience. The Council expressed interest in understanding human culture beyond military or scientific achievements. "We thought it best to show you who we truly are." Elsa waved cheerfully at the assembled aliens, completely unfazed by the hundreds of eyes, sensors, and appendages pointed in her direction. The council members whispered among themselves. High Counselor Venna, an elegant being of pure energy contained in a crystalline form, spoke with authority. "Very well. We have prepared questions about human physiology, culture, and your planet's unusual nature. But first, we shall observe your midday meal ritual. We believe much can be learned from how a species nourishes itself." "Oh, it's lunchtime." Elsa perked up, opening her container. "Perfect, I'm starving." What happened next would be recorded in galactic history as the incident that changed everything. Elsa pulled out her lunch, a sandwich containing what appeared to be processed meat, a bright red fruit, a small bag of orange triangular objects covered in red powder, and a dark carbonated beverage. She also produced a small bottle filled with clear liquid that made several council members recoil instinctively. "What is that weapon?" Counselor Thrax demanded, pointing at the bottle. Elsa looked confused. "My water bottle, I just like to stay hydrated." "That is dihydrogen monoxide," Sci-Fi's voice trembled. "In liquid form at room temperature." The council chamber erupted in shocked murmurs. Every species present knew of the universal solvent, the compound that could corrode metals, carry deadly pathogens, and cause catastrophic damage. Most species only handled it in controlled laboratory conditions with proper safety equipment. "Yeah, water," Elsa said casually, taking a long drink. "We need like 8 glasses a day or we get dehydrated." "She consumes it voluntarily," Venna whispered in horror, "multiple times per solar cycle." But Elsa had already moved on. She bit into her sandwich, and the council watched in fascinated terror as she chewed. Through the chamber's advanced sensors, they could analyze exactly what was happening. "That bread contains gluten proteins," announced the council's medical officer, Dr. Zix. "Highly complex compounds that most digestive systems cannot process. And those green leaves, that is chlorophyll-based vegetation, raw plant matter." "I love lettuce," Elsa mumbled between bites. "And tomatoes, fresh veggies are the best." Counselor Thrax's scales had turned pale yellow, a sign of extreme distress in his species. "The tomato, that red sphere, my databanks indicate it contains solanine, a toxic alkaloid compound. She is poisoning herself." "Only if you eat the leaves and stems," Daniel interjected calmly. "The fruit itself is perfectly safe for humans." "Safe?" Zeitzler's eyes widened. That compound would send most species into toxic shock. Elsa reached for her chips, the bright orange triangles dusted with red powder. The moment she popped one into her mouth, every alarm in the Council's biological analysis system activated simultaneously. Capsaicin DETCTD, the automated system blared. Chemical weapon alert, neurotoxin present. The Council members who possessed the ability to run began backing toward the exits. Capsaicin was a known defense compound used by certain aggressive plant species across the galaxy. It was classified as a chemical deterrent, capable of causing severe pain and system failure in most known life forms. Elsa crunched happily on her spicy chips. These are the flamin' hot ones. They're my favorite. She is consuming a military-grade irritant. Dr. Zix's voice had risen several octaves. For pleasure, and she displays no distress response. They're just a little spicy, Elsa shrugged. You should try the ghost pepper ones my brother eats. Those are actually hot. There are stronger versions. Vena's crystalline form flickered with distress. But the true horror came when Elsa opened her carbonated beverage. The dark liquid fizzed ominously, releasing carbon dioxide into the air. The pH analysis appeared on the chamber's main screen, 2.5. That acidity level, Zeitzler stammered. It should dissolve organic tissue on contact. It is nearly as corrosive as our industrial solvents. Elsa took a long sip through her straw, then let out a satisfied ah. Nothing beats a cold Coke with lunch. She introduces it directly into her digestive system. Counselor Thrax had completely lost his composure. His translator was now struggling to keep up with his panicked hissing. The carbonation alone should cause catastrophic internal pressure buildup. Daniel decided it was time to intervene. If I may explain. Explain, Zeitzler interrupted. Your young consume universal solvents, neurotoxins, corrosive acids, and toxic plant alkaloids as a casual midday meal, and you brought her here as a cultural representative. What are your warriors capable of? I'm actually pretty average, Elsa offered helpfully, taking another bite of her sandwich. My friend Jake eats way weirder stuff. He loves these fermented fish things from Sweden called surströmming. They smell terrible, but he says they taste great. Fermented protein. Dr. Zix's medical tendrils were trembling. Intentionally spoiled organic matter. This defies all biological safety protocols. High Counselor Vena's energy form was pulsing erratically. Ambassador Daniel, we must reconsider Earth's application to the Galactic Council. We were led to believe humans were simply a resilient species from a moderate death world. But if this is what your children casually consume... Wait until you hear about our sports, Elsa added cheerfully. I play soccer. We run around for 90 minutes straight, sometimes in the rain or snow, kicking a ball and occasionally running into each other. It's super fun. They engage in sustained cardiovascular stress as recreation. Zeitzler translated for the benefit of the council members whose translators had malfunctioned from shock. In hostile environmental conditions, with deliberate physical contact. My dad does ultramarathons, Elsa continued, oblivious to the growing panic. That's where you run like 50 or 100 miles through mountains and deserts. Last year he did one in Death Valley when it was 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Death Valley, Counselor Thrax repeated weakly. Your recreation locations are named after mortality. Oh, that's just because it's really hot and dry there, Elsa explained. It's not actually deadly. Well, I mean, it can be if you're not prepared, but that's true of anywhere. The council chamber descended into chaos. Species that had never agreed on anything were now united in their terror. Council members were frantically accessing data on Earth, and each new discovery only made things worse. Their gravity is 1.3 times the galactic standard, someone announced. Atmospheric oxygen concentration of 21%. That is a fire hazard. Their star emits dangerous UV radiation, and they voluntarily expose themselves to it. They have toxic creatures called bees and wasps that inject venom, and humans often live near them without protective equipment. Some humans keep predatory animals called cats and dogs in their dwellings as companions. Daniel watched the panic spread and decided to clarify things. Honored council members, please understand. Earth is classified as a mild death world, yes, but humans have adapted to thrive there. What seems dangerous to you is simply our normal environment. Normal? Vena's voice cracked with disbelief. Your planet is a nightmare of toxins, predators, and environmental hazards, and you evolved to not only survive but to seek out even more dangerous experiences. Elsa had finished her lunch and was wiping her hands with a small cloth. This has been fun, but I've got homework. Mr. Chen assigned like 3 chapters of chemistry, and I need to study for my history test about the World Wars. World Wars, Zeixther's translator barely managed the words, plural. Yeah, we had 2 big ones in the 20th century, Elsa said matter-of-factly. We learned from them though, haven't had one since. The implications hung in the air. A species that had fought multiple planetary-scale conflicts and then chose peace. A species that consumed toxins for pleasure. A species whose children thought nothing of the dangers that would terrify hardened warriors of other races. High Counselor Vena finally spoke, her voice carrying the weight of the Council's collective decision. Ambassador Daniel, the Galactic Council, requests that Earth consider joining us, not as an equal member but as a protector species. Your people's unique resilience and adaptability would be invaluable to our collective security. Daniel smiled. We would be honored to discuss such an arrangement, but we prefer partnership to protection. Humans have learned that cooperation achieves more than domination. Agreed, agreed. Counselor Thrax was eager to appease these terrifying Deathworlders. Full partnership, equal voting rights, access to all trade routes, whatever you require. Elsa packed up her lunch container. Does this mean I can come back and try alien food? That would be so cool for my cultural exchange project. The council members exchanged horrified glances at the thought of what human digestive systems might do to their carefully prepared cuisine, but they were too frightened to refuse. As Daniel and Elsa left the chamber, the council members remained in shocked silence. Finally, Zeixther spoke what everyone was thinking. We have made first contact with humanity at precisely the right time. Imagine if we had encountered them as enemies instead of potential allies. Counselor Thrax nodded slowly. A species that feeds toxins to their young and considers planetary warfare a historical lesson rather than an existential threat. The galaxy is fortunate that humans prefer friendship. High Counselor Vena pulsed in agreement. Indeed, and if a human child's lunch can inspire this much terror, I shudder to imagine what their military is capable of. Let us ensure we never find out. As the council adjourned, every member made a mental note. Never, under any circumstances, anger the humans, and definitely never watch them eat again. The end.